What's up, people? Good evening, good evening. How we doing? Jump in. Man, I just wanted to come to y'all this evening, say what's up. Man, talk to the entrepreneurs for a minute. Y'all already know what it is, man. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I'm gonna keep it 100. No sugarcoat, nothing. Just tell you, man, how the game goes. How the game goes, man. Just how things kind of work. Talk to you about real problems, real issues. Um, real experiences in the business as well. And tonight, man, I just want to talk to y'all about on the entrepreneur side of never getting discouraged. There's a lot of times where in your entrepreneurship journey, you have goals that you want to hit. You got dreams, of course. And sometimes more times than not, you're gonna hit obstacles. You're gonna feel like your business is not headed in the direction where you want it to be headed, like you're not hitting your goals, like it's taking longer than it should, because you have your personal expectations of where you want to go. And usually we want to go straight to the top very fast, as quickly as possible. We don't really have the patience to really understand what building a business is, because we may not have nothing to compare it to. We may not have mentorship or someone who's been in a position that we had to let us know, like, hey, actually, you're on track. You might be on track and don't even know it. A lot of times I see people, they're comparing themselves to what other people are doing. They're looking at the success that person has, or that person has, or this person has. They're comparing their, month two to someone's 2 years in the industry. They're comparing their fifth week, their week five, to someone's year five in the business and the industry. And it's just not fair. It's not going to be fair to yourself to do that, for one, because you don't know, for one, the journey that other individual that you're watching, you don't know what they went through. You don't know the ups and downs. You don't know how much work they put in. You don't know, their background before they got into that industry, their network, who they might be connected with. It's a lot of different variables, but when you just see things from the outside looking in, it can be discouraging. But you got to keep in mind, everybody's journey is different. And at the end of the day, it's what they say is you versus you. It's you against you at the end of the day. The goal is just to keep getting better every day. Most people, when they start a business, they don't realize that first year is going to be like a learning curve. I said this before, you can definitely make money in your first year. That first year is going to be a learning curve. A lot of businesses fail within the first 2 years. A lot of people in the sales industry, I mean, realtors, loan officers, insurance agents, tax professionals, a lot of them don't make it past year one. Even more don't make it past year two. And that's a form of being a business owner. I think sometimes people, when they look at like certain sales professions and things like that, they get into it, but they don't think like business owners. They're thinking like, oh, I got a license to do something, or I passed the test, or I passed the exam, I got a certificate. But they don't really realize that when you start in one of those professions, you're truly a business owner. I mean, think about it. Like, even if you're a real estate agent, you're a 1099 independent contractor. As loan officers, you can be a 1099 independent contractor, but but a lot of companies require you to be W-2, but at the same time, it's still commission based. They're not really paying salary, so it's just like legalities around it. But like, really, they're 1099 independent contractors. When you're a 1099 independent contractor, you basically just started a business. You're an entrepreneur. And so I remember I was doing a speaking engagement, and I asked everybody in the crowd. I said, when you get your real estate license, no, I said, what did you go to school for? When you took your exam, what did you go to school to do? You know, if I could ask you what's the main purpose that you went and got your license in the main business that you're in right now, what was that for? And just everybody said to be a real estate agent. You know, I said, what's your primary purpose, you know, in this business? Well, to be a real estate agent to sell homes. And I was like, nah, that's what you went to school for. And you can't be a real estate agent until you got a client. I don't care what degree you have or what certification you have, whatever respective field you're in, until you get a client, you're not that person yet. First, you got to obtain the client. So everybody's really in this marketing space. They're really in the advertising space and don't know it. They're really entrepreneurs and don't know it. They A lot of people come into business with the mindset of like the employee mindset, you know, where you're like working for someone or you have to clock in, you have to clock out. That's the employee mindset, not really the entrepreneurship mindset. Um, Getting into entrepreneurship and looking for someone to feed them business or feed them leads, but at the same time want to be an entrepreneur. But nobody really like really wants to talk about that part of it. They just want to be the entrepreneur. Like I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs. They spend a lot of time on like their logo, their colors, the design of their business card, the design of their websites, which is all good. Um, they spend a lot of time on busy work, making flyers, things of that nature. They spend a lot of time on busy work, and all of those things are good. Don't get me wrong, but then when it comes to the actually connecting with people and the work that has to be put in, like they'll do all of that work, and then when it gets to that point, then they stop because all of that other stuff, the business cards, the colors, the logos, the website, um, I'm gonna make these pamphlets, etc. Like all of that was the fun part. Like that was the fun stuff. And now when it's time to actually put the work in, it's like, well, that part ain't so much fun. That part, it's not, it's not as exciting. The business becomes not as exciting as I once thought it might be. And then it's like, okay, this is the real world. Like, okay, I actually have to work this thing to see some results. I have to actually put some work in to actually get some clients and generate some income. And especially in this space where you got so many people on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of these different social media platforms, and everybody looks like they're successful. Everybody looks like they're successful, which can't be. That can't be the case because when you look at the statistics, uh, a majority of businesses fail. So how is all of these people looking like they're successful? Well, sometimes I think people just make it look good. And I'm pretty sure there's some people that's very successful as well. I'm not going to count that out. But I think a lot of people make it look good. And why do they make it look good? Because they usually are they either want you to like follow them and then they're going to monetize the channel views, or they got something else that they're selling, some type of subscribership. A lot of people are doing like Patreon and things like that. And so they have to make it look good because maybe and they may not even be making money from what the business that they're in. They may actually be generating the income the from the viewers actually subscribing to what they say they're good at. And you may not even subscribe to it. Somebody might, I'm not even subscribing to that. But you also got to be careful because if you look at all of these individuals and they look really successful, that could cause you to be discouraged. So I want to make sure that nobody mixes these two up. It's okay not to be satisfied where you're at. It's okay to not be complacent of where you're at. But that should never lead to you being discouraged for where you're at. That's two different things. You can be, not happy about it, not satisfied. You don't want to be complacent. And you can move with a sense of urgency. But at no point should the situation you're in your business cause you to be discouraged. Because the moment you start getting discouraged, that's the moment that you're going to start slowing down. The moment you start getting discouraged, that's going to be the moment where you like, if you keep going on that path, you're going to be wanting to give up. And building a business, being an entrepreneur is about, I'm going to show up every day with the same sense of urgency, with the same hustle, with the same drive, with the same level of intensity, if not more. I'm going to show up every day like that, and the next day, and the next day. But you can't show up like that if you're discouraged. It's going to be very difficult. It's like when you moving through a business or moving through building your business, and you're moving with discouragement like on you. That's like trying to run down a block with a parachute on your back. And no matter how hard you run, it's like this parachute is just like still pulling you back. It's like still weighing you down. It's like being a professional swimmer, like Michael Phelps, one of the greatest swimmers, I guess, to ever do it. But it's like being Michael Phelps trying to swim with a ball and chain on his ankle. No matter how hard he tries to swim, that ball and chain is just going, it just wants to keep pulling him down. Right? Have a set a timetable for what type of success you want to see as well. Like there should be milestones that I want to reach this level by this, right? This many customers by this time, or whatever, this many sales or revenue generate this much revenue by this time. You should have these milestones set in place, but not just milestones set in place like I want to hit this level or hit this title or have this many sales just because I want to. I mean, that's cool. Yeah, have the ambition. It's a lot of things that we want. Have the ambition. Go for it. Go for it. Go for everything that you want. But at the same time, look at what you want and say, okay, how am I going to achieve it? What is it going to take of me to achieve it? What do I have to do daily in order to achieve it? How many people do I need to talk to? How many sales do I need to make? Have a game plan for it at the same time. So don't just set the goal, but not have a plan. If you do that, if you move like that, it's going to lead to frustration. Frustration can lead to discouragement, right? Even if you don't hit certain goals, it should always be a lesson. You should always learn something from it. But one of the worst things you could do is start talking down on yourself, right? Having negative thoughts, talking negatively, speaking negatively in your own mind. That's one of the worst things you could do. That's self-sabotage. And you never want to get to the point where you start having self-sabotage because the next thing you know, you won't be in business. I think they say a lot of businesses fail within the first 2 years, and even more fail within the first 5 years. But I think a lot of businesses go out of business simply because that person gives up. Now people do make bad decisions where they end up losing a lot of money and they forced to shut down. But I also think that the mentality that people have based around their business, and they start really getting kind of down on themselves, and they could just decide to shut it down, thinking that it should have happened a whole lot sooner, a whole lot quicker, because the person on Instagram, their business was blowing up. And you just don't want to gauge it that way. You want to get around some individuals that have some experience in what it is that you're doing as well. I would definitely say find you a good community, not just a community for support and to say positive words, but a good community where you could get a realistic expectation on how fast your business should be growing and how fast it should be scaling and the things that you have to do and that you may know about, but the things that you may not know about that you have to do and implement in your business. It's better to find some type of mentorship versus having to guess your way through the process. If you were traveling from one state to another, wouldn't it be better if you had a passenger in the seat that's already driven from state to state? They know the highway. They know where the gas stations are. They know what exit to take. They know typically where, like, hey, watch out for the police. They hang out right there, under this bridge. Don't speed in this section, etc. Like, wouldn't that help you a lot going on that journey? Shoot, at one point, and I'm sure my age, at one point, there was no GPS. And I'm sure my age, but there's some people that's older than me. They gonna tell me, look, at when I first started driving, there was no GPS. There was I had to download and print out the maps, like Yahoo Maps. There was no map. There was no GPS. Before that, people were just having maps, right? But mentorship, if you could have someone sitting in that passenger seat with you that's been on the road that you're already going to, and they can tell you all the loopholes, all the pit holes. Speed up here, slow down here, stay on that track, stay in this lane, don't move into that lane, do this, do that. That will help you a lot, and that will help you set your expectations, help you set your goals, but then also it will reduce frustration. It will reduce getting discouraged. And so that would help a lot. So that's something that I would definitely recommend, is getting around individuals that have been where you're trying to go. But I just wanted to come and bring that message to y'all, man. Don't mix up. And if you're watching this live, drop heavy in the chat. If you're watching the replay, drop hitters in the chat. But I just want to say, don't mix up the fact that you might be unhappy with where your business is. Don't mix up the fact that you might be not satisfied where your business is. Do not mix that up with the feeling of discouragement. Those are two different things. You cannot be happy, you cannot be content, but if anything, it shouldn't discourage you. It should fire you up. It should make you want to come back the next day harder. It should make you want to go be stronger, faster, more efficient. Find the weaknesses, find the flaws. Let me get better. Let me go back to the drawing board. Let me map this thing out again. Let me bounce some ideas off of somebody. It should really fire you up. But see, most people take what they feel like is a fail, because there's never a fail, but they take that loss, that failure, and then they turn it into a loss. And that's where the discouragement comes in. But you really have to just not live by that. When they say it's not a loss, it's a lesson, you really have to live by that. You also have to learn to just really trust and appreciate the process of growing and self-development. You have to really appreciate that. You have to really love the journey of self development that you're on. When you really have a love for that, of just getting better and mastering your craft, when you really truly have a love and a passion for that, everything else don't really matter. Like, the sales come, the money comes, right? Like, it's really about the journey and the process. And then it's about you saying, I can help others to duplicate and repeat the same things that I've done. When it becomes more about that and your goals and your dreams, they become bigger than you, right? They always say you have to have a why. Your why has to be bigger than you. Everything that we can't do, we can't just do for ourselves. We can't do for our first name. We also need to do for our last name. The goal is to build legacy, right? Drop legacy in the chat. That's the goal. So when the goal is that big, it's all about the process and the journey. There's no reason to get discouraged. But a lot of people, when they get in business, they take it like it gets so personal. They take it so personal. Everything becomes personal. If a person says they're not interested, if a person says no, if a person doesn't respond to their message, if they call somebody and the person hangs up the phone, if they get blocked, whatever the case may be, they take it personal. Especially when it comes to family. I'm gonna say this: if you're an entrepreneur and your family doesn't, well, I'm gonna say it like this: if they don't buy something from you, aka support you, don't get mad at your family. For one, family don't need to buy nothing for you to give you support. That's number one. They don't need to be a part of what you're doing in order to support you. And that's another thing I see a lot of people do. They feel like if their family didn't buy something from them or spend some money with them or join whatever it is they're doing, then that family member didn't support them. Your family don't got to spend no money with you to support you. They got their own stuff going on. Just because you started a business don't mean that they got to buy something from you. Now, if you let them know what you're doing and you get the exposure and they come, support from family should just be, if anything, I'll say, hey, only support I need is love and support. I just want you to see what I'm doing. That's it. You shouldn't look at family support as they had to buy, they need to buy something from me or they ain't support me. And if you're relying too on family to blow your business up, family and friends, and I mean, unless you got a huge network, unless you got thousands and thousands and thousands of people in your network that you expecting to support you, the 20, 30 people you thinking about, that ain't gonna blow your business up unless they got huge networks and you trying to get them to put you on. What you need to be thinking about is the 300 million plus Americans over the age of 18 or whatever your business model is that could actually use your service. There's so many people just in the United States. Not to mention if you have a business that's global that can branch out to other countries and the countries don't even matter, right? Some people are selling like makeup and vitamins and things of that nature. And their businesses can scale all across different nations. There's so many people in this world. The last thing you want to do is worry about the family buy something from me. Because I've seen so many people get discouraged by that. My family never support me. They never support me. It wasn't fun to blow your business up anyway. But why are we so hooked? Well, because we get emotional. It's an emotional thing. When people tell you no, when people tell you no, they're not telling you no. Or they say not right now, or I'm gonna get back with you later, or whatever the case may be. They're not saying you telling you no. They telling your product or your service or your business. They telling that no. That was something that they don't want or need in that moment, and that's okay. If Wendy's run a commercial on your TV, do you run out and buy a biggie bag just because Wendy's ran a commercial? Probably not. Do you run out and buy a Frosty? Probably not. But they gonna run that commercial again, even though you didn't buy nothing from them that day. And they gonna keep finding ways to put their business in front of you just to do what? Just to remind you that they in business. And one day you're gonna stop there and you're gonna get you something to eat. They are running a commercial across your phone in your household, and you might be a vegetarian. They running a whole double stack from burger with cheese and all of that on there. And you could be a vegetarian. They don't care because their job is to get the information. It might be somebody sitting in your house that's not a vegetarian watching that same TV. They don't care. They're not taking it personal. So my challenge to everybody is don't get discouraged. You can be unhappy. You cannot be complacent. You can want more out of your business. You cannot be satisfied. I'm not satisfied. I want more out of my business. I'm impatient, but I'm trusting the process. But at the end of the day, don't get discouraged. My challenge to y'all is to get fired up and get better and trust the process and keep going until the goals that you have for your business, the goals that you have for yourself, the self-development that needs to be done so that you could bring more value. So then your business can reap the benefits from you gaining more value, get sharper. But don't get discouraged. Get fired up. Get motivated. But my challenge to you is at this point, knowing everything that you know after watching this video, you should never be discouraged again. You should be motivated. Man, with that being said, man, y'all have a blessed